You gave my prepaid VIP suite to him, Naomi asked, her voice cold and steady. The front desk clerk froze as Martin Grayson, drink in hand, raised his glass with a smug grin and said, "This hotel knows who really matters." What no one realized was that the woman they just humiliated owned the entire building. Hello, everyone. Today we're diving into a story that will leave you furious, inspired, and hopefully ready to demand better from the world around you. Picture this: you've paid $800 for a VIP suite in a luxury hotel. You show up, confirmation in hand, ready to check in, only to be ignored, talked down to, and told your room was given to someone more appropriate. And when you ask why, they say it's just policy. But the truth: the man they gave your room to just handed over a wad of cash, and he looked like the kind of guest they wanted to see. You didn't. Now ask yourself, what would you do? Because that's exactly what happened to Naomi Ellison. And what they didn't know was that Naomi owned the entire hotel. That's right. This story is about payback, not with violence, not with shouting, but with power, strategy, and undeniable proof. And it could happen to anyone, even you. So before we dive into this battle between power and justice, take a moment to like this video and subscribe, but only if you truly believe in what we're building here. Drop your location and your current time in the comments. I want to know where you're listening from. Now let's begin. Naomi Ellison arrived at Serenity Grand right on time, 3:15 p.m. Suitcase in hand, confirmation email still fresh in her inbox. Dressed in a simple black pantsuit, flats, and a low bun, she looked like any other mid-level business traveler. But nothing about Naomi was average. Not anymore. At 52, she was the founder and CEO of Ellison Lux Hospitality, a company that owned over 50 luxury hotels across the U.S. But she hadn't always been powerful. 30 years ago, she was cleaning toilets in hotels like this one, scrubbing soap scum off bathtubs and saving every dime for night classes in business. She'd built her empire from nothing. And now, after secretly acquiring Serenity Grand just 2 days ago through a third-party trust, Naomi was here for one reason: to see the truth for herself. The front desk was manned by a sharply dressed blonde woman who looked up, glanced at Naomi, then immediately looked away. Another man in a fitted vest, mid-30s, clean-cut, was shuffling papers and pretending to be far too busy. Naomi stood directly in front of them. Nothing. Not even a welcome. Not even a nod. She waited. 30 seconds, a minute, 2. Then she cleared her throat gently. "Excuse me, I'd like to check in." "The name is Nicole Evans." The blonde receptionist finally looked up. "Name again, Nicole Evans." A few taps on the keyboard. Her eyes narrowed. "There's a reservation, yes. But I'm afraid there's been a complication." Naomi's stomach tightened, though her face remained calm. "What kind of complication?" "The VIP suite you booked is no longer available." "No longer available?" Naomi reached into her purse, pulled out her phone, and held up the email. "I booked this 3 weeks ago. Paid in full. I even confirmed it this morning. I'm sorry, sometimes online reservations don't sync correctly. I didn't book online. I spoke to someone named Jennifer directly." The receptionist barely glanced at the screen. "I can offer you a standard room instead." "At the same price?" "Yes." Naomi raised an eyebrow. "So you want me to pay for a suite and sleep in a regular room?" "We're trying to accommodate you, ma'am," the receptionist replied coldly. It was in that moment a voice cut across the lobby. "Grayson, welcome back." The staff lit up like Christmas lights. Smiles bloomed. Posture straightened. The man they greeted was in his early 50s, white, wealthy, and radiating entitlement. Martin Grayson. No reservation, no check-in delay, no confirmation. Just walked up, slapped a few $100 bills on the counter, and suddenly the suite was ready and waiting. Naomi watched it all unfold. "Excuse me," she said, stepping forward. "That's the suite I reserved." "Ma'am," the male clerk, whose name tag read Brent, interjected. "Mr. Grayson is a valued guest. We reserve the right to reassign rooms at our discretion." "And I'm not valued?" Naomi asked quietly. The air thickened. No one responded. Grayson turned to her, smirked. "This place takes care of its regulars." Naomi felt the fire rise, but she swallowed it. "So my confirmed reservation, my payment, none of that matters." "Not compared to what I bring to this place," Grayson replied smugly. I don't just stay, I invest. And that's when it happened. He pulled out a thick money clip, peeled off several bills, and slid them across the counter. Let's make this easy for everyone, he said to Brent. Brent took the money without hesitation. Naomi didn't say a word. She didn't need to. Her phone was already recording. Ma'am, Brent said, suddenly shifting tone. Due to overbooking, your suite has been canceled. You can take the standard room or leave. Naomi stood still. Then I want a full refund. Partial refund only, Brent said smugly. After processing fees and administrative charges, Naomi stared at him for a long moment. She saw the lie. She saw the layers of systemic bias. She also saw opportunity. I'll take the smaller room, she said finally. At the same price. Very good, Brent replied. Room 214, near the service elevator. He smiled like he had just won something. But Naomi wasn't here to win tonight. She was here to expose. And tomorrow, everyone in this building would find out just how big a mistake they had made. Room 214. That number would be seared into Naomi's memory, not because of what it offered, but because of what it revealed. The hallway was narrow, dimly lit, and carried the faint scent of bleach and old carpet glue. Her door was directly across from the service elevator, and every few minutes it let out a loud mechanical groan, followed by the rattling of carts and muffled chatter of housekeeping staff. Inside the room was barely fit for a 3-star motel, let alone a luxury property charging $800 a night. The carpet was stained near the window. The AC unit buzzed unevenly, like it was struggling to breathe. One of the bedside lamps flickered constantly in the window view, not the Skyline Serenity Grand, proudly advertised online, but the loading dock where laundry bins and dumpsters sat in full view. Naomi sat on the edge of the bed and pulled out her phone. With the camera rolling, she documented the stained carpet, the flickering light, the dented mini-fridge, and the broken thermostat. She narrated each shot calmly like a field reporter, gathering evidence. Then she panned to the door and whispered, "They wanted to hide me, so they put me here." Her voice didn't tremble. It didn't crack. But something behind it did. A deep, smoldering sense of betrayal, not just for herself, but for every guest who had likely been treated the same. She picked up the phone and called the front desk. A new voice answered, younger and less polished. "Front desk, how may I help you?" "This is Nicole Evans in room 214, Naomi said. "The air conditioner isn't functioning. The lights are flickering and the carpet is stained." A pause, then a hesitant voice. "I'm sorry, Miss Evans. We'll have housekeeping take a look when they're available." "When will that be?" "It depends on their rounds," the voice replied now, clearly coached by someone else in the background. "That's the only room available at your booking tier." Naomi blinked. "My booking tier?" "Oh, I mean online reservations, last-minute bookings, discounted ones." Discounted, Naomi's tone was flat. "I paid $800. Full price. I booked 3 weeks ago." More silence. Then the line went dead. Naomi set the phone down and stared at the wall for a moment, processing. Not just the insult, but the strategy. The way the front desk had maneuvered her into a box far from the lobby, far from visibility, far from anyone who might have asked questions about the VIP suite she was promised. She opened her email again and reread her confirmation. VIP suite, executive lounge access, priority services. She picked up her phone again and sent a group message to her executive assistant general counsel and board chair. Confirmed the systemic discrimination. Proceeding with full documentation. Stay on standby. Her phone buzzed instantly with replies. Understood. We're monitoring. Record everything. Later that evening, Naomi changed into a simple one-piece black swimsuit, slipped on a hotel robe, and made her way toward the pool. It was nearly 9 p.m. The posted hours clearly said it stayed open until 11. The pool attendant, a young white man who looked barely 21, watched her approach, like she didn't belong. "Can I help you?" he asked, already reaching for the clipboard. "I'm a guest," Naomi said evenly, holding up her room key. "Room 214. He stared at it longer than necessary. "Pool closes in 30 minutes. Naomi gestured toward the sign. "It says 11. "We're closing early tonight for maintenance," he said, not looking her in the eye. She glanced past him. At least 5 guests, white chatting, laughing, were still in the pool towels draped over chairs, cocktails in hand. None of them had been asked to leave. None had shown a room key. I'll only swim for a few minutes, Naomi said, brushing past him. You'll need to shower first. Health code, he called out behind her. She turned to respond but paused. A white couple had just entered from the side gate, laughing. No room key, no shower, no questions asked. The attendant greeted them with a grin. Naomi stood still watching, letting the moment stamp itself into her memory. Then she walked back the way she came. The hotel's restaurant wasn't any better. She had made a reservation through the app, but when she arrived, the hostess waved her toward a table in the far back, next to the swinging kitchen door. Naomi scanned the nearly empty dining room. I'd prefer a table by the window, she said politely. Those are reserved for guests with certain packages, the hostess replied. I am one of those guests. I don't see your name on the premium list, the hostess said, eyes cold and unbothered. You can take this table or wait outside. Naomi sat down, pulled out her phone again, and quietly recorded the conversation. Then she left. No meal was worth swallowing that level of indignity. She was returning to her room when she passed the concierge desk. A young black woman, likely no older than 25, caught Naomi's eye. Something in her expression shifted in awareness, a recognition. Miss Evans, she called gently. Naomi turned. Yes, my name's Talia Carter, she said in a low voice. I saw what happened in the lobby when you checked in. That wasn't right. I just wanted you to know someone saw it. And I'm sorry. Naomi studied her face. Honest, nervous, kind. How long have you worked here, Talia? 2 years, she replied. And I've seen this happen too many times. Mr. Grayson, well, let's just say he pays extra to get the room he wants. And sometimes that means people like you don't get what you paid for. Naomi kept her voice steady. People like me. Talia nodded once solemn. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for telling me. You're welcome. Just be careful, she added in a whisper. The management doesn't like when people ask too many questions. Naomi gave her a small nod and walked away, her mind already moving faster than her feet. The pieces were falling into place. She didn't just have rudeness on her side. She didn't just have bad service. She had a pattern, a system, one that operated in plain sight and had been operating for years. She reached her room, sat down and opened a secure chat app used only by her board and legal team. She uploaded audio, video, photos, and detailed notes. Then she texted one line, I'm activating the emergency meeting. Tomorrow morning. 8:45. As the night wore on and the sound of the service elevator roared outside her door, Naomi laid back on the hard mattress and stared at the ceiling. She was done being quiet, done being polite. Tomorrow the reckoning would begin. By 7:30 the next morning, Naomi was already dressed and composed. Her hair pulled neatly back, her notes, organized, her phone fully charged. She'd slept no more than an hour, but fatigue had no place in what she was about to do. Today wasn't just about reclaiming a room. It was about reclaiming respect, not just for her, but for every guest like her who had ever been pushed to the margins, silenced, or quietly redirected to the back of the house. She slipped the room key into her blazer pocket and made her way to the elevator. The button lit up and the doors opened with a chime. 15th floor, the executive lounge. She scanned the confirmation email again on her phone as the elevator climbed. It clearly stated VIP suite reservation includes full access to the executive lounge for breakfast and evening cocktail service. And yet Naomi already knew what was coming. The lounge entrance stood at the far end of the hallway, guarded by a staff member with a posture that practically screamed gatekeeper. His name tag read Marcus, and he stood in front of the frosted glass doors like a bouncer outside a high-end club. Good morning, Naomi said, approaching with calm precision. Nicole Evans. I'm here for breakfast. My reservation includes access. Marcus didn't even smile. He looked her over quickly, his eyes flicking to her clothes, then back to her face with something between suspicion and dismissal. Ma'am, I'm going to have to check with management before I can let you in. Naomi held up her phone. My booking included this lounge. Here's the confirmation. Marcus didn't even glance at the screen. Just wait right here. From inside the lounge, the clinking of cutlery, low laughter, and polished jazz floated through the doors. Naomi stepped slightly to the side, just enough to see through the glass. There he was. Martin Grayson, already seated, already served, already smirking. His platinum watch flashed in the sunlight pouring through the floor-to-ceiling windows. A tray of fresh fruit and pastries sat untouched beside a full mimosa glass. Naomi's jaw tightened. Marcus returned moments later, but not alone. Two security guards flanked him, the same ones from the lobby yesterday, the same ones who hadn't even glanced at her confirmation email before demanding she step back. "Ma'am," the taller one said in a firm tone, "we're going to need you to leave the lounge entrance." "Why this area is reserved for VIP guests," Marcus chimed in. "I am a VIP guest," Naomi replied evenly. "I have executive lounge access included in my suite reservation." The second guard stepped forward. "Mr. Grayson has requested no disturbances during his meeting." Naomi blinked. "Disturbances? You're treating a paying guest like a trespasser." "Ma'am, we need to keep our most valued guests comfortable," Marcus said, unable to meet her eyes. "I paid for this access," Naomi said louder now, raising her phone slightly. "And if you'd like, I can scroll down and show you the timestamp. 3 weeks ago. $800 charged in full." From inside the lounge, Grayson finally looked up. Their eyes met, and slowly, mockingly, he raised his mimosa in a silent toast. Then he took a long sip, his smile never leaving his face. Naomi inhaled slowly. This was no longer just mistreatment. This was targeted humiliation. "Ma'am," the taller guard said again, "you're going to need to return to your room." Naomi didn't move. "I need to make a phone call." She turned and walked several steps down the hallway, just out of earshot, but still within view of the lounge. Her hands were steady, her breath measured. She opened her secure conference app and dialed the board line. Within seconds, the screen filled with faces: Eleanor, her board chair; Thomas, her COO; Jonathan, head of legal; and 4 other executives, each in different locations, each waiting for this very moment. Maya, Eleanor said, calling her by her real name, her tone sharp with concern. "We've been monitoring everything. What's your status?" "It's worse than we thought," Naomi replied, her voice low and fierce. "I've been denied access to the lounge I paid for. The staff is colluding with a guest who's bribing them openly. They blocked me from entering, and the same security guards who tried to intimidate me yesterday are involved again." Thomas leaned in. "We have the full video from your body cam. Everything's being uploaded in real time. We're ready to move." Naomi didn't hesitate. "Activate Plan B. Have the team in position by 8:45. I want every SUV parked around the building. No announcement until I give the signal. And Jonathan? Yes, prepare Keller's termination letter. Lifetime ban. I want his membership revoked across the entire Ellison Lux network." Jonathan gave a small nod. "Already drafted. Just waiting for your word. And the staff, we've identified every employee involved in discriminatory actions. Terminations are ready. We'll hand them out during the staff meeting once you give the speech." Naomi stared down the hallway toward the lounge one last time. "I'll be ready," she said quietly. She ended the call, tucked her phone away, and turned back toward the elevator. As she stepped inside and watched the numbers tick down, her heart wasn't racing. It was steady. Her mission was clear. It wasn't about getting the suite anymore. It was about getting justice. By the time she returned to her room, the group chat on her phone was lighting up. Security footage from pool area logged. Lobby bribe audio recorded and time-stamped. Legal team on site parked underground. Press liaison in staging area. She allowed herself a single sip of water and sat near the window, watching as the SUVs began to arrive one by one, quiet and deliberate, each carrying a key player in what would be Serenity Grand's reckoning. She glanced at the clock. 8:32 a.m. The countdown had begun. At exactly 8:45 a.m., Serenity Grand's lobby was alive with movement, but not the usual kind. 7 black SUVs had pulled into the hotel's circular drive in perfect choreography. Doors opened. Men and women in tailored suits stepped out, calm, composed, and purposeful. They didn't wait to be greeted. They didn't need bellhops or concierges. These weren't guests. These were decision-makers. The front desk manager, Brent, was the first to notice. He leaned over to the receptionist. "Who are they?" he whispered, adjusting his tie nervously. "I don't know," she said, eyes tracking the procession. "They didn't check in." "Get Peterson." Brent snapped. "Now!" Across the lobby, Grayson emerged from the lounge, holding his 4th mimosa, wearing the smug confidence of a man who believed he owned the place, or at least everyone in it. But even he paused when he saw the suits. Something about the energy had shifted. From the elevators, Naomi stepped out no longer. Nicole Evans, the overlooked guest. She wore the same black suit, but her presence had changed. This time she walked like the owner. Because she was. Grayson spotted her and scoffed. You again? Naomi didn't even blink. She turned toward the intercom near the front desk and spoke clearly into it. All Serenity Grand staff are to report to the Grand Ballroom immediately for an emergency all-hands meeting. Attendance is mandatory. Brent's mouth dropped open. Who authorized? Naomi turned slowly, locking eyes with him. I did. He took a step back. You can't just... That's when Eleanor Whitaker, board chair of Ellison Lux Hospitality, stepped through the entrance and placed a hand on Brent's shoulder. She absolutely can. Within 10 minutes, the Grand Ballroom was filled with confused, fidgeting employees. Whispered questions filled the air. No one had ever seen an all-hands meeting like this, especially not one unannounced, unplanned, and led by total strangers. Naomi stood at the front of the room beside Eleanor, Thomas, and Jonathan. She waited until every chair was filled, every door closed. Then she stepped to the microphone and looked out at the faces, some indifferent, some nervous, some defiantly smug. My name, she began, her voice ringing clear across the room, is Naomi Ellison. I am the founder and CEO of Ellison Lux Hospitality Group. And as of 72 hours ago, I am the new owner of Serenity Grand. Silence. Gasps. One woman in the back dropped her pen. Naomi continued. I arrived yesterday under the name Nicole Evans to see how this hotel truly treats its guests, particularly guests who don't look like your usual VIPs. And what I experienced was some of the most blatant, shameless discrimination I've seen in my entire career. She gestured to the projector behind her. A screen lit up. Footage began to play. Grainy lobby security video of Martin Grayson slipping money to Brent. Audio clips of Brent saying, "We reserve the right to reassign rooms." Peterson's voice. If you continue causing disruptions, we'll have you removed. Grayson in the lounge raising his mimosa in a mocking toast. The pool staff denying Naomi access, while other white guests entered freely. The restaurant hostess assigning her a table by the kitchen. Phone recordings of front desk lies. The room shifted from whispers to stunned silence. Faces paled. Naomi's voice remained steady. Every interaction was recorded. Every word documented. This was not a misunderstanding. This was a system built on exclusion, bribery, and disrespect. And it ends today. She turned to Eleanor. Eleanor, proceed. Eleanor stepped forward with a stack of crisp white folders. Brent Matthews terminated. She handed him the first envelope. His hands shook as he took it. James Peterson terminated. Peterson rose from his seat, red-faced. You can't do this. This is outrageous. You threatened to call security on your employer, Naomi replied. You encouraged the bribe. You reassigned my paid suite. You watched discrimination happen and made it hotel policy. So yes, I can do this. Marcus Bailey terminated. The security guards flanking the ballroom doors looked at each other. One of them stepped forward. Ma'am, I didn't know you didn't ask, Naomi interrupted. And in hospitality, ignorance is not an excuse for bias. More names followed. The hostess, the pool attendant, a housekeeping supervisor caught on camera mocking guests who think they're more important than they are. Each one received a termination packet. Some walked out angry, some left in tears. Grayson, standing at the back, raised his voice. This is insane. I've been loyal to this hotel for 8 years. I bring business here. Jonathan approached him with a formal letter. Mr. Grayson, your platinum status has been permanently revoked. You are banned from all 53 Ellison Lux properties nationwide. You'll regret this, Grayson growled. No, Naomi said calmly, stepping forward. You will, because the days of buying privilege with a wallet and a wink are over. She turned to the remaining staff, those who hadn't participated, those who had stood on the sidelines. To the employees still in this room, a new chapter begins today. Discrimination will not be tolerated. And those who choose dignity, who choose to do the right thing, you are who we will build this hotel on. She looked across the room and found Talia Carter standing near the back, hands clasped, eyes wide. Talia, Naomi said, voice softening. Step forward. Talia did, trembling. This young woman is the only one who acknowledged what happened, who apologized, and who showed integrity when no one else did. Effective immediately, Talia Carter is being enrolled in our management training program with a full scholarship and mentorship. The room broke into applause, genuine, spontaneous, loud. Talia's eyes welled with tears as she whispered, "Thank you." Naomi looked out across the ballroom one last time. This hotel will not be a place where people are humiliated for how they look, how they sound, or where they come from. It will be a place of excellence, of fairness, of truth. And as she stepped down from the stage, a new era for Serenity Grand officially began. Naomi didn't walk, she glided. Down the marble hallway, past the front desk, now staffed by temporary Ellison Lux team members. Past the concierge desk where Talia was still wiping tears from her cheeks, and up once again to the 15th floor. But this time no one blocked her. No one questioned her presence. No one reached for a radio. When she stepped into the executive lounge, the early sun poured in through the windows, casting golden light across the skyline. It was peaceful now, no fake toasts, no entitled laughter echoing off the walls. Just the quiet hum of a place being reclaimed. Naomi set her coffee down, opened her notebook, and began writing the new staff code of conduct by hand. First rule: dignity isn't a luxury, it's a requirement. Over the next 3 days, the transformation began in full. Ellison Lux dispatched a full retraining team, hospitality veterans, known for turning struggling properties into guest-first sanctuaries. The walls were repainted, the uniforms redesigned. The suite Naomi never got to stay in, it was rededicated and renamed the Justice Suite. A plaque mounted at the door read, "Dedicated to the principle that everyone deserves respect, not just the privilege." Talia Carter began her first mentorship session 2 days later. Nervous but focused, she met with Naomi in the executive office. "I never thought someone like me could be here," she admitted. Naomi smiled. "You're exactly who should be here." 6 months passed, and Serenity Grand was no longer whispered about for its shameful practices. It was now featured in every major travel magazine as a symbol of turnaround. Guest satisfaction rose by 38%. Revenue jumped by 32%. And the property had one of the most diverse management teams in the entire region. Corporate retreats came back. Families returned. Even former guests who had once felt invisible now found themselves welcomed with warmth and grace. But for Naomi, it was never about numbers. It was about proving a point that respect should not depend on your race, your clothing, your bank balance, or your zip code, and that even the deepest rooted cultures of bias could be uprooted when leadership decided it was time. Now, as promised, let's wind things down. Sometimes justice doesn't come with loud sirens or courtrooms. Sometimes it comes quietly, in the form of a woman who was once told to use the back elevator, now standing in the front of a ballroom deciding who stays and who never comes back. If there's a lesson here, it's this: don't underestimate someone just because they don't fit your image of power. Naomi wasn't wearing diamonds when she walked in. She wasn't flanked by assistants or cameras. She was quiet, patient, calculated, and she brought with her the weight of every insult she had endured and turned it into action. So here's my advice to you. If you witness injustice, say something. If you hold power, use it for good. If someone discounts you, let them. And then show them who you really are when it counts most. To the staff who learned a lesson, may it stay with them. To Talia, may she rise and never forget where she started. And to Naomi, thank you for showing all of us that class isn't about how you're treated, it's about how you respond when you're tested. This story isn't just about a hotel, it's about a system, and the woman who walked in quietly, but left with the whole building in her hands.